morning to you, my dear friends. Today happens to be the second day of October 2018. Thank you very much for joining us for today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Pretty nice looking morning out there. Pretty nice looking morning. I certainly do wish you all the very best for this day. Today we're going to take a look at a statement which was issued yesterday by Prime Minister Mitchell in response to a lot of his critics who have been pretty vocal about his comments made in New York last week about the healthcare system. A very carefully worded and very well, let me say right off the bat, very well worded statement from Prime Minister Mitchell. We're going to share that with you in just a bit. After that, we're going to listen to the national report, find out what our government's doing. And then, yes, he's coming in here. He's going to be sitting right there in that chair next to me here. Mr. Ray Roberts, keeping an eye on things, okay? So there you have it. That's your lineup for today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Thanks for joining us. Now, let's get to that statement, which was made by Prime Minister Mitchell only yesterday. Fellow Grenadians, it has become necessary to clarify recent statements about the inappropriate use of government resources for personal benefit. My statements were not meant to imply that all public officers are guilty of this, but it is important to face the ugly truth that this has been happening and continues to happen across the public service. Not only at the General Hospital, which was specifically referenced in response to a question on health. The statements made at the recent town hall meeting in Brooklyn, New York, were in no way different from previous statements made about the pilfering of supplies from various government departments and the inappropriate use of government resources. This is not hearsay. It is fact, and I have repeatedly shared my concern about the corrupt practices across government. I do not share the view that raising this issue with fellow Grenadians in the diaspora was inappropriate. We call on them to give back to their home country, so we owe it to them to be honest about what is really happening here in Grenada. There is no denying that there are many honest, decent, and hard-working public workers who have given yeoman service, often going above and beyond the call of duty, serving the government and people of this country. However, the inescapable fact is that there are also some public officers who use their position to access government resources for self-aggrandizement at the expense of the people of this country. It is the actions of this group of selfish and self-serving public officers that tarnish the image of what should be a noble profession. This wanton disregard for the proper use of government resources puts the entire country at risk. It undermines valiant efforts being made to improve the socio-economic status of the country and its people. When resources are used for purposes other than originally intended, it forces additional and unnecessary spending and jeopardizes allocations for other equally important areas of service. As a government, we are entrusted with the mandate of furthering the overall development of Grenada. As Minister of Finance, I am personally appointed as the caretaker of this country's financial resources. But it is not a task performed single-handedly. It is with the support of all public officers who are similarly entrusted with departmental financial accountability, and we further rely on the honesty and individual accountability of each public officer. I stand prepared to meet with our doctors and nurses who may have felt personally offended by the comments about rampant stealing at the General Hospital. But I can categorically state that the intention was not to malign all healthcare professionals. I reiterate my recognition and admiration for those who perform credibly, putting the healthcare needs of patients above all else. However, we cannot and must not turn a blind eye to the prevalence of corruption. Acknowledgement is the first step in correcting an ailment. My intention was simply to underscore the detrimental effect of the actions of some, not only in the health service, but across all of government, including the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Customs and Excise, Inland Revenue Department, and the Marketing and National Importing Board, where an inquiry is currently in progress. I must reaffirm my sincere gratitude and appreciation for all public officers who give good service. You are and will continue to be the backbone of government operations. I thank you. Alrighty, folks, that was a statement made yesterday by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell. And the man is right. I would doubt it very much if this was not happening at the General Hospital. In fact, like he said in his release, it's happening all across government. But let's put aside the public service for just a minute. I challenge you. You talk to anybody in the private sector. Guess what? They'll tell you it's happening there as well. It is happening. Just talk to the number of businessmen and women who own businesses in this country. They'll tell you how much they lose every year because of pilfering. It's happening. Having said that, let me tell you where I saw some irony in the comments made by the Prime Minister. Folks, I want you to put on your thinking cap for just a minute. Just sit and think. Over the years, how many times have you heard of your money, the money that you give to your government, being squandered and being unaccounted for? Think about it for a minute. Hey, maybe later on today, pick up your telephone, call a couple of your friends, check out some of the reports in the media over the years. Folks, so it's not just happening with the public servants. Nah, it's not just happening in the private sector. My dear friends, I hate to say it, but like the Prime Minister, I too must be honest. It is happening right within the administration of government. Yeah. So, Mr. Prime Minister, please stand in front of a mirror. Take a look. Tell me what you see, sir. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not going to defend people who steal in any way. But we have to be honest. It's something about us as a people that's happening right across the board. Let us admit that, like the Prime Minister said. Until you acknowledge that there is a problem, you can't fix it. You understand? So once again, Mr. PM, thank you so much. That was a very well-crafted statement issued yesterday. And I hope that everybody in the public sector, in the private sector, and in the administration of this country listened to what you said. Appreciate it. Folks, woo, 12 minutes gone. Wow, I'll tell you what. Let's take a first little break here as he punches a couple of buttons, and we'll come on back with the National Report.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmed, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the...
It's good to be early. To be early. Pay your GrenadaBroadcast bill on time.
Prime Minister clears the air on statements made at recent New York Town Hall meeting. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back with the details. I'm Rikisha St. Louis. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says recent statements about the inappropriate use of government resources for personal benefit was not meant to imply that all public officers are guilty of this. However, he says it is important to face the ugly truth that this has been happening and continues to happen across the public service, not only at the General Hospital, which was specifically referenced in response to a question on health. We get more in this report.
In a written statement dated Monday, October 1st, Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said statements made at the recent Town Hall meeting in Brooklyn, New York, were in no way different from previous statements made about the pilfering of supplies from various government departments and the inappropriate use of government resources. He said, and I quote, "This is not hearsay, it is fact, and I have repeatedly shared my concern about the corrupt practices across government. I do not share the view that raising this issue with fellow Grenadians in the diaspora was inappropriate. We call on them to give back to their home country, so we owe it to them to be honest about what is really happening here in Grenada." Unquote. The statement added that there is no denying that there are many honest, decent and hard-working public workers who give yeoman service, often going above and beyond the call of duty, serving the government and people of this country. However, the inescapable fact is that there are also some public officers who use their position to access government resources for self-aggrandizement at the expense of the people of this country. It is the actions of this group of selfish and self-serving public officers that tarnish the image of what should be a noble profession. He went on to state that this wanton disregard for the proper use of government resources puts the entire country at risk and undermines valiant efforts being made to improve the socio-economic status of the country and its people. When resources are used for purposes other than originally intended, he said, it forces additional and unnecessary spending and jeopardizes allocations for other equally important areas of service. Dr. Mitchell added, and I quote, "As a government, we are entrusted with the mandate of furthering the overall development of Grenada. As Minister of Finance, I am personally appointed as the caretaker of this country's financial resources. But it is not a task performed single-handedly. It is with the support of all public officers who are similarly entrusted with departmental financial accountability, and we further rely on the honesty and individual accountability of each public officer. I stand prepared to meet with our doctors and nurses who may have felt personally offended by my comments about rampant stealing at the General Hospital. But I can categorically state that the intention was not to malign all healthcare professionals. I reiterate my recognition and admiration for those who perform credibly, putting the healthcare needs of patients above all else. However, we cannot and must not turn a blind eye to the prevalence of corruption. Acknowledgement is the first step in correcting an ailment. My intention was simply to underscore the detrimental effect of the actions of some, not only in the health service, but across all of government, including the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Customs and Excise, Inland Revenue Department, and the Marketing and National Importing Board, where an inquiry is currently in progress. I must reaffirm my sincerest gratitude and appreciation for all public officers who give good service. You are and will continue to be the backbone of government operations." Unquote.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Honorable Peter David is appealing to international partners to work towards an acceptable country vulnerability index that assesses the developmental risk of small island states. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly over the weekend, Minister David suggested that this could be done just as the Caribbean Developmental Bank uses vulnerability indices to set terms of its financing. He pointed out that the region's sustainable development faces significant threats from challenges like corresponding banking, de-risking, blacklisting, and middle-income status graduation.
The withdrawal of corresponding banking services to CARICOM member states can be seen as an economic assault that would destabilize the financial sector of our already vulnerable economies. Remittances contribute in real and significant terms to the GDP of small states. In fact, the World Bank has stated that any sudden stop in remittances in economies that rely on these flows could pose significant threat to socio-economic stability. Added to the threat of loss of corresponding banking relationships, we also have to contend with the unilateral and often unfounded blacklisting of our institutions as money launderers and our countries as tax havens.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and Sedera.
Welcome back. New home on the way for swimmers in Grenada. Lands in Queen's Park have been set aside for the new aquatic center. The announcement was made by Ms. Perron Johnson, president of the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association, GASA, at the start of the 2018 Grenfin Invitational last Saturday. The Invitational serves as the OACS team selection trials for competition in November. Johnson says the new center will be a major accomplishment for the association and Grenada.
I'm just happy to say at this stage that GASA has made good progress in terms of advancing the development of an aquatic center. You would be hearing more about this in the upcoming weeks, but we are happy that we can say, with the presence of the strong presence of the government representative here today, we have the Minister for Sport with us, accompanied by the parliamentary representative, and they have been working hard behind the scene, and they have ensured jointly that GASA now has a land vested in its hands for the development of an aquatic center, and this is a major accomplishment.
Swim teams are currently using the Good Hope Pool in St. Paul's, but have been clamoring for years for a larger facility that can accommodate more teams and international standard training. Minister with responsibility for sports, Senator Norland Cox, says government will continue to support the teams and stakeholders in any way possible.
Swimming is a very important sport, not only for our young lads, but also for Grenada. We know that our young persons have so much dreams. They have so much things that they want to do. And giving them an opportunity to do what they love best, which is swimming, I think that is something that we must be proud of.
The Grenada Olympic Committee also pledges its support towards the construction of the aquatic center.
There is a main thing that we are going to support with, and that is the construction of your new aquatic headquarters. I have taken to our Pan Am Sports Executive Board the plans, and thank God that government had given them the land. Let's commend government. Let's give them a round of applause. Because the first question I was asked is, who does the land belong to? So the fact that the land is theirs, we have sent it off to the Pan Am Executive Board, and they're going to be meeting very soon to hold discussions. And I've spoken with Dr. Maglione, the president of FINA, who is my personal friend, and I hope that he is going to comply nicely with the construction of the aquatic headquarters.
That was General Secretary of the Grenada Olympic Committee, Vida Bruno Victor. That story just brought the curtains down on the National Report for today. Now to recap the top story. Prime Minister clears the air on statements made at recent New York Town Hall meeting. On behalf of everyone who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for viewing. Until next time.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it, and that's your national report. I'd also like to ask you to please like us on Facebook, spread the word that we're here every weekday morning at 9 o'clock. Now, I just want to take a minute here to say hi to the folks who are on Facebook this morning. Maureen Batiste says, good morning, I'm right here with you. Where are you, Maureen? I don't see you. Chester Simon is out there in Switzerland. He's with us as well. Bernard Gilbert. Penny Crowley. Hello there, Penny. I guess you guys are getting ready for your autumn pretty soon, if they haven't already started. I imagine that the leaves will be changing. We'll talk about that some other time. And by the way, Chester says, Mr. Grant, if the health minister made this comment, it would not have been so bad. But when the Prime Minister of Grenada made a comment like this, it is really bad. So says Chester. Earl Maitland says, it's bewildering to see how our government feels mandated to answer to the outside world, but not to the Grenadian public. Thank you, Earl. Veronica Sandy is saying good morning. I see you have lots of sunshine wherever you are, Veronica. Thanks for joining us. And Ahama Rayburn, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, A-H-A-M-A, Rayburn says, Keith Mitchell is a sorry excuse for a prime minister. He should be ashamed to call public workers thieves. Well, I'll tell you, Rayburn, some may agree with you, some may not. Folks, let's take a little break here, and then we'll come on back with Mr. Ray Roberts, who has arrived, sitting here all smiles.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebra Pick, Nutmeg, Bourbon-Day and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come.
Well, I wouldn't complain. No, no, if I go, I wouldn't reach by you. I'll be late. Well, it depends on the conversation. Yeah, it depends on who you meet. Because there are always people. Right, and the topics are so many. And not only that, the environment and everything you could think about. Right.
Well, since I'm a little bit late getting started with you this morning, let me get right into it. What's up your sleeve today?
Well, there are many things, but I will just simply say that the persons who write or produce the Prime Minister's reaction to what he said in New York is as bad or even worse than him, because they have compounded the thing by adding more public officers into it. You had zeroed into the hospital. Now you talk about public officers. So you're talking about how many of them? 5,000, 6,000 of them. So I think that again shows where the thinking cap of many of us not working. But George, I would want to say I want to congratulate the Swimming Association for having...
Hold on. Before you move on to the Swimming Association, let me ask you this. Don't you agree that there is an issue? Don't you agree that there is an issue with theft? With not just within the public service, but as I mentioned earlier on, even the private sector?
Well, I spent 36 years in the public service, and I don't know of any mass thieving.
Mass or not mass?
Well,
doesn't it happen?
Yeah, but that's not a discussion that there's the police. I don't know that that's a national discussion. If you're stealing, you're pilfering, we have a police force. I don't know that any of the major companies in Grenada have a broadcast on that. I mean, this is the government of Grenada. If there are cameras, you go into the bank, the cameras. In fact, I know of a company where there was a worker who brought in the union and said she didn't steal. All the manager did was brought the union upstairs first, let them view the tape, and then invited the woman. And she cried for days. So the point I'm making, how does that become a national debate? It has to be an idle country.
Okay, I'm not saying whether or not it should be a national debate. The point I'm trying to make is that this kind of thing just does happen. Private sector, public sector, and as I mentioned earlier on this morning, it happens right there among the administration.
Well, that's true.
I mean, there's a lot of money in this country that's gone unaccounted for.
We quite agree.
Yeah.
But again, I'm saying that how does it become a lecture in an international forum that uglies and people at the lowest level stealing? I mean, yes, we admit, even in your own homes, things disappear. But
so in actual fact, this is a people problem. It's not just the nurses and the doctors. It's a people problem.
I don't know that will ever go away, but I know that there are systems in place that you can certainly monitor and be on top of it. I don't know that that is a warranted national debate about. I worked in the public service for 36 years. I don't know that I steal anything. You can come in my own. Those who I worked with, I know some people might have, pilfer a little thing here and there, or whatever you want to say, but I don't know that there is this mass that it has to be because there are managers that it means the managers are all terrible, because whoever manages the place must take responsibility. We have bad managers.
All right. Okay. In that case, now let me ask you this. Please proceed. You were about to say something about the GASC. Go ahead.
Right. I want to congratulate them for coming up with the resources to build their aquatic center. But I want to say again too, it demonstrates how Grenada really does not care about the environment. You're talking about the Queen's Park that is extremely populated. There's a cricket stadium, there's an athletic stadium, there's the power station, there's also welding taking place there, there's Petro-Caribbean, and in the middle of that, you are going to put a swimming pool, aquatic center you may wish to call it, with that going to be catering for children, parents. Let's check the danger. God forbid something happens at the power station. Petro-Caribbean, there is what? Inflammable gases and so forth there, what have you. Then there's a welding station there. So are we really serious about the environment? Or we just like to talk about things in the international forum and maybe fortunate enough to lead the process? That's a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, I'm sure there are many other places in Grenada that could accommodate the aquatic center. And certainly we don't have that kind of challenges.
Okay, but wouldn't you say that, I mean, take a look at the National Stadium and its proximity to these hazardous areas.
Well,
isn't that an issue as well?
That is an issue as well. That's why I'm saying that. That is a dangerous thing to have done that. You can't have inflammable gas. I mean, let's forbid that nothing happens. But why are we doing it? I mean, it's just like where we build the Olympic House. You boast about the best 5-star hotel in the Caribbean, and you're going to put an Olympic House next door where there's going to be entertainment, where there's going to be all sorts of things that I'm sure is not going to enhance the ambience of it, because it's going to be recreation. We'll be making noise. Are we asking people to pay what it is, I understand, $2,000 US a night to enjoy things like that? So I think again is where is the common sense? Where are the planners? Where is physical planning? Where is the government? Where are the people? We just not seemingly getting it right.
Well, we don't seem to think a lot here, you know. I mean, take a look. Just a few weeks ago, there was an issue about the Silver Sands project where apparently some gas tanks were placed in close proximity to a school with 100 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. So that's what I'm saying, George. Where is the thinking cap? I mean, yes, as I heard the Prime Minister said in New York, jobs and jobs and jobs. But I also heard a lady who's a professional, Miss, whatever her name is again, Jessie. She was saying, you know, we got to be also thinking about the future, the future, the future. So we have jobs today, and will there be a future tomorrow if we continue to intrude incrementally on areas of the coast that clearly shows in the next 10, 20 years, the water will certainly be encroaching further and further into the land.
In the case of the swimming pool, where would you suggest they may have put it?
I suggest perfect virgin territory. So many other places in Grenada. I don't want to start calling any area else because the town and country thing is very visible, but this is a small island. So there are many other places in Grenada, but I don't know, with the crowded St. George's, there's a smelly area in this Queen's Park where they dispose of waste. I mean, you can smell it meters away. I don't know that that's the right place for anything right now. I think we should really try to work on that smelly area. And let's take it again, the river, the overflowing banks of the Queen's Park River, St. John's River. So really and truly, George, I don't know if there are thinkers in this country. We're just doing things because we have the resources, but these things are not properly thought out. Yeah.
All right, well, that seems to be customary in this country nowadays.
Well, yeah, but I think more people, I was happy last night to hear Dr. Jessie May speak out on this issue. And she said, you know, she really don't want to be too much on the talk shows and so forth. But really, we need people like that because people are not thinking. I mean, I invite people every day just to think about the way you put in that aquatic center. Great thing. St. Lucia has one, Antigua has one, so we must have one too. But why go in an area where there is a major power station? You know, accidents can happen. So, and then not only that, there's gravel and concrete with some of the biggest trucks you could find in Grenada. They're all parked there and they are shuttling in and out. So, who are the smart ones in Grenada? Are they sleeping or are they not prepared to lend a voice to it? So that's my piece, George.
That's your piece for today.
That's correct.
Now, do you feel any better now that you got it off your chest?
Well, it's a pity that nobody listened. I think much of the country is asleep because really, George, as I said to people, if the Prime Minister could waste a whole forum in New York to tell people that orderly and doctors and nurses, and those were his words, are stealing chicken and that kind of nonsense, it shows that the country must be sleeping.
All right. Well, hopefully your dissertation will not fall on deaf ears this morning.
Well, you've been in it for a very long time, and you know that. They will go ahead. I mean, nothing will stop them. I mean, people will just go ahead, and then, you know, you go pray to God that Grenada is not going to be one of the countries affected by your mistakes.
All right, you're absolutely right about that, Ray. And I don't know, I keep talking, but I sometimes wonder if anybody's listening. And like you get the funny feeling after a while that it's all falling on deaf ears. Okay, my dear friend, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Right.
God's willing,
That's correct.
next Tuesday. Thanks a lot, Ray. And do you know somebody by the name of Rickel Scott?
Yes.
Rickel Scott is in Trinidad. He says, "Good morning, Brother Ray."
Morning, my friend.
Okay. And I see we've also been joined by Nesta. Hello, Nesta, out there in Switzerland. Nice of you to join us. Thank you so much. Folks, we are going to take another little break here, and we'll come on back and wrap it up, but don't go away yet. Hang in there.
Hi, I'm Gloria. My family and I travel all around the world, lighting up homes and businesses just like yours. And lately, we've been hearing a lot of talk about electricity.
Yes. Are my rates the highest in the world?
Your rate is definitely not the highest. Grenadians are paying a similar rate to some islands in the Caribbean, and in some cases, even less.
Grenelec, energizing our Grenada.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenada will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability. And wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Alrighty, folks. Let's see here. This is just about time to pull the curtain down, and I want to say thank you to those of you who joined us not only on Facebook this morning, but there are also people out there listening on the other platforms like TuneIn, Radio Garden, Radio Genre, and even the audio on Grenada Broadcast. And a bit later on, it's also going to be up on YouTube, just in case you missed any part of it. It's going to be on YouTube and Facebook. Now, just before we go, I want to leave you with some words of wisdom on this Tuesday morning. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, "It is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord." On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Couldn't think of better words to pull the curtain down today. So I do thank you for joining us, and I hope that you'll be able to find some time in your busy schedule to join us again tomorrow morning for another edition of Gudday Grenada. As he fires up his extra, I do send God's blessings your way. You have a great day. See you tomorrow.